Good evening. Happy Easter, everyone. I hope you're all doing good. Mark, hello. MAN, hello to you as well. MAN, I hope you're doing well. Ted, hello to you. I hope you had a great Easter weekend as well. Thomas, hello to you. Luke, hello. John Tamaya, hello to you. Oh, and John, hang on. Let me just replay that jingle. So I hope you all had a great Easter weekend with great weather, friends, family. So here's the 40 months resub.
Welcome aboard the Captain Black
Thank you very
Twitch
much.
channel subscriber experience. Could new subscribers please make your way to the first class cabin, where complimentary
Now I just realized I had the wrong aircraft selected. We did say we wanted to fly the 321, didn't we? So John, once again, thank you so much for the 40 months. Let me find my variant. That's a 320. There it is. No, it's not. Hang on. Where's my 321? Variant. Hold on. Let's go 321. 321. There it is. That's the one, right? Yeah. Configure. And Bradfan, hello to you. Jilend, hello. Jack, hello. Lima Kilo, hello. Organ Aviator, doing well. How are you doing? There it is. That's the 321. Kupinata, hello to you as well. Jack, how are you? Happy Easter. So let me save that, and then let's go to Thessaloniki. I don't know. I felt like going on holiday today, right? So why not go and go somewhere beautiful? So we're going to go from Thessaloniki down to Iraklion.
Welcome aboard the Captain Black Box Twitch channel subscriber experience.
Hey, hello.
Could new subscribers please make your way to the first class cabin, where complimentary drinks, snacks and premium flight entertainment will be served. Thank you.
Ed Force
Happy
5.
Easter to all. Hope you all enjoy it. Good to see you, Captain BB.
That's really kind. Ed Force 5. Thank you so much for the 84 months. Good God. Hang on. Let me just get my chat bots running, and then I want to get that huge round of applause. That is a long time. In the meantime, hang on. Hold on. What is happening? Oh, I need to synchronize that with the correct joysticks. Right. So lots of stuff to do again. Let me first go ahead and I want to make this daytime. I don't want to fly in dark, to be honest. Let's make this sometime in the afternoon. Let's put this to 17:05 or something. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty much. Good question. I think it is. Hang on. Is it Just Sim? No, it's not Just Sim, is it? Let me just find that. Hold on. I will let you know in a minute. It's something with M, I think. MXI Design. Sorry, MXI Design. It's not the best scenery, but I mean, you know, it'll do for me. I'm pretty sure that some people will say it's not realistic. Right, let me connect. There we go. And then let me connect the other one. That's weird. Why is that not connected anymore? Hang on, let me just try. I thought so. Hold on. That. And nope. Disconnect. Generate token. Generate the token. And then connect. And then connect. Right, let's try. Nope. So I'm just trying to get my chatbot connected. And let me restart that. Right, so Pilot 19 also coming in with
Welcome aboard
51 months of support. Thank you so much, Pilot 19. And Iowa Scotsman, hello to you. Philly, hello. And Turk in the US, hello to you. Nice to see you.
Drinks, snacks and premium flight entertainment will be served. Thank you.
Hi BB. Once again thank you for your streams.
Thank you very much for your kind words, and thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. That's wrong though. Why is that? That should not be connections. Let me try that again. No. Sometimes the technology is a nightmare. Hang on, why is that? That is YouTube, right? Oh, hang on. Hold on. Lilo, hello to you. Nice to see you too. Okay. I'll try one more thing. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to have to try that at a time. Then we don't have any sound effects like applause today. Cool. In the meantime, so FS Labs 321 Neo, I have no idea when. Again, I'm not affiliated with them. I don't know what they're doing right now, so I have no idea. Right. No, unfortunately, I can't get the chatbot working for Twitch. Peter, hello to you. Good night. Hope you had a great Easter. And so, yeah, we are in Microsoft 2024 again. In case you're wondering, I am trying my best to kind of get things sorted out regarding... oh, you've got to be kidding me. Look how many free positions there are. And of course, I choose the one that's been taken. Anyways, let's move. So we're going to go to 7. Reposition aircraft. Let's go number 7. Just whoop. There we go. Now it really goes. Oh, and Mets, hello to you. Yeah, so I'm trying to find kind of, you know, the best settings regarding, you know, to get performance, etc., etc. So trying to get, you know, smooth simulations. And what I changed from last time, because I was still getting some stutters, which was quite annoying. Somebody was saying I should switch off ray trace shadows or something. Ray trace something. There's 2 settings for ray trace stuff, and I only had deactivated one of them. So there should be yeah, 2 settings in the options menu, and so now I have deactivated both. Have I disabled live weather? Hang on. Yeah, but that, hang on, you cannot, hang on, let me just make sure that I'm not getting this wrong. You cannot choose live time and live weather, right? I mean, no, because if I press live, then it'll switch back to the weather. So this is weather live. Custom? No, hang on. Hold on. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. So this is... so about 10 past, correct? 12 past, okay. And then now live weather. This is live weather though. So this should be exactly correct now. So I'm using my own time, but live weather. Okay, thanks, Nico. All right, thanks, guys. Perfect. Alrighty. So now we've got that set. Cool. So yeah, hoping to get more and more optimized settings. No, Lilo, Pilot 19, sorry, Pilot 19. I have not switched completely. The reason being is that there's just so many aircraft add-ons still that that do not work in 2024 yet. So hence, do you mind showing your settings? Yeah, I think if anything goes wrong, I will I'll reconnect. So the problem is here in Marcus 2024, you can go into like you know, for the control setup, you can do that without getting disconnected from VATSIM. But if you go into the main menu to change things like graphics and so on, then it will kick you from VATSIM. So let's do that. Then I want that being as well, my own. That's that. And I think we're good now with that. Hey, Juta. Hey, nice. GG's. Well done. Yeah, I'm sure you're happy about that. Congratulations. Excellent. Cool. All right, so let me go quickly to go settings here. So what I've done is the following right now. So I'm using TAA mode, 4K resolution, 100% render scaling of rendering resolution, frame generation on. VSync obviously doesn't work now. I've done that externally. So half monitor frequency. So I'm kind of limiting to 60 FPS. Then also frame rate target is deactivated. So dynamic settings deactivated. And then I'm running 100% or 100 terrain level detail, pre-caching ultra. Then the rest is like medium, rocks low. I think Lilo was saying that you should have rocks on low or something and grass on the lower side, because otherwise it really kicks on performance. Then I've got currently, so here, that's the thing. So ray traced shadows, people say you should have that off. And then there's another thing, ray marched reflections. There's another setting. I don't really see any big differences having that on or off. So I've put this now to off, and apparently it does help with performance. So yeah, that's the rest that I have. Low road traffic, low sea traffic. I don't really care much about these. And fauna medium. Right. So again, I'm still in the process of testing it to see if you know, if just the performance just gets more stable. Now, why is my, hang on, where's my Bravo throttle quadrant? Didn't I have on FENIX? Ah, that's why. But that's correct. So it should be camera, cockpit camera. Yeah, so these are all set. There we go. So that's all set. Okay, that's working. That's working. That's working. Oh, do I really have to get all my viewpoints resaved again? dislike doing that. Okay, let's try that. That's number 2. Ghost hello. And Metz. This is a very good settings guide with side by side. Okay, thanks, Metz, for that. I'll save that link. Appreciate that. And then I got some feedback as well from someone else saying that they have a hard time seeing what I'm actually putting into the MCVU. So I'm going to just zoom in a bit more here as well. So that's number 4. Oh, hang on. I think I know what I've done wrong.
AGN 112 tree taxi 2 and hold short of runway 16 using taxiway Charlie Alpha tree Alpha Alpha 1. Contact tower on 118. 105 when ready.
I have no idea where that came from. I honestly don't understand the way
AGN 112 tree, please acknowledge.
Right, hang on. Okay, so that's that. Cool. So somebody's writing chase plane. Yeah, Ed Force 5. I don't know. I'm not so totally convinced regarding chase plane. I'm not sure. I think a lot of people will be somewhat disappointed. I think disappointed with the features.
AGN 112 tree, did you copy?
Oh God, how can I deactivate that? That's silly. And Hazo Basil, hello. Is there any difference in EIS2 cockpit panel colors between the COs? In real life, no. Honestly, and again, I would be the wrong person to ask. You know, there's people that have such a gifted talent.
AGN 112 tree acknowledge last transmission.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Please. Oh my God. I don't know what button I pressed to get the ATC. Is the in-game ATC, I have not used it at all, really. So I'm quite surprised that I'm getting these kind of calls right now. Right, I think that's good.
AGN 112 tree ATC services terminated.
Oh, thank God for that. He's upset. He's like, all right, I've had it. Cool. Turn off ATC. Yeah. Didn't I have assistance? Yeah, maybe he's annoyed now, so he's switched off, I think. You could turn ATC down by turning voice to 0%. Okay, thanks, Antler. Appreciate that. We'll see if he comes back. Then we'll definitely switch him off. Right, engine start levers in cutoff position, flaps slats position correct. We've got the gear lever down, and then we've got the wipers off. Let's hit the external power on. Let's get this thing running. And Organ Aviator, you bought the tow list, return Neo, and Easter sale. Nice, cool. Okay, what do you think about the Neo, Organ? Yeah, and a good question to you as well. Then Hazo wants to know if you notice any differences regarding cockpit panels and coloring, etc., etc. Personally, like I said, I admire the people that have the gift to really notice, minute differences in sounds or even textures. So, yeah, I'm not good at that, really. Flight warning computer hasn't started up completely yet. We'll just give it a few more seconds. Now, the next question is, I do have the correct database. That's good to know. I do have that. Right. Let's see who else is here with me. We got lots of people joining. I'm happy to see many, many people flying along. MAN, are you flying along? Give me a shout, if just +1 or something here in chat if you're flying along. I think Ted is flying along, right? Where's Ted? Oh, you have school tomorrow. Oh no, Ghost, I'm sorry. But that's very sensible, Ghost. I think that's really, really sensible. You probably don't want to hear that, but I think that's cool. Organ says he did not notice any differences in textures. You're at position 4. There he is. So Embraer. Okay. So he's showing it Embraer. And you're the Ryanair, so 737 or... Oh, maybe that's the wrong model matching then. Maybe these are 737s. Glent, want to fly along? Too late. Okay. 320 Ocean. That is weird though. So, I mean, if you're on this position here, and Ted's on stand 17. Of course. That's the Ryanair terminal. And Solaris, you're the Eurowings then, next to me. So that's missing. I need to know who. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So MAN. Now it's worked. Look. Cool. Excellent. Solaris. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for flying along. Flight time now is about 1 hour 25 or something. Let me just check. No, it's an hour. So now it's an hour, and the next flight is even shorter, like 40 minutes. Hey, what do you mean your fault? Ah, you have the wrong aircraft in VATSIM. Ah, okay, I get it. Okay, cool. Yeah, Organ, please do. Please do. There we go. Now we can do the fire test. For those of you, again, I apologize for not being able to fly along on across the pond. So the notification to get a slot came too late. I was already given a real-world tour over the next couple of days. So I'll be back on Saturday, like noontime at home, having flown the complete night, not getting much sleep that night. So it would not make any. I don't think I could go through a whole across the pond flight. Sorry to say. So apologies for that. However, for the German-speaking nationals or anybody that's able to speak German, understand German, I have been invited to join Captain A320 on YouTube. Fantastic real-world pilot who is an instructor pilot, and he's streaming, so he's doing across the pond, and I've been invited just to join him in a chat for a while. So when I've had 2 or 3 hours of sleep when I'm home, then I'll join his chat. We'll have a voice chat, and I think we can probably get some good interesting topics going. Answer some questions. So I'm looking forward to that. Right, let me go here real quickly. Lilo writes, hope SU2 will bring a lot of performance, because for me, beta, it really did a huge difference. Okay. Yeah, so Lilo, honestly, even if the FPS would improve, I don't really need more than 60 FPS. Right? I'm happy with 60 FPS. Because that way, it's going to be nice and stable, nice and smooth for me. So really all I would do is then increase the level of detail. That's really all. Where do you get deliveries? Here in Microsoft, I get it from flightsim.to. Flightsim.to. Ghost. So the big changes coming. The problem is across the pond, eastbound is in October, isn't it? So October, as you know, will be my last month working. Yeah, okay, yeah, Whipbird, I'm gonna hurry up. You have a connecting flight. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna hurry up. Yeah, we'll see. But nevertheless, come November, there will be some changes to my streaming. So I'll have a face cam. I'll be able to maybe speak a bit more freely about my employee or the past employer and so on. So there will be some interesting things coming up. So, and then of course I will have much more flexibility regarding these events. So I definitely think that I will be able to join more events that way. So cost index is 15 today. Turk and US, I am already in the process of making arrangements for flights to Boston. And I do want to take my wife with me, because that way we'll join the event on the weekend and we're going to stay a few days longer. And we plan to go eastbound towards the seaside, because it looks like there's some really lovely places there to spend 2 or 3 days there at the seaside. So that's the plan. You recommend Newport? Okay, I'll note that down. Thanks, Turk and US. Yeah, Newport. Okay, Richmond. Is that Richmond? RI. Gilenta, so you've got a question for your retirement. In my boring office job, it's always easy to visit old colleagues. I suppose that is not the same for you because you're simply not allowed anymore. How do you feel about that? Hang on, what do you mean with it's easy to visit old colleagues? I suppose that's not the same for you because you're simply not allowed anymore? You mean like to get into the flight deck or something? Or in what regard is that? So 69.8. What I will do is I will show you guys the flight plan, and then what we do, we're going to do instant loading so that we get going. We're going to not go through the whole GSX stuff. So 6.7 should be.
Welcome aboard the Captain Black Box Twitch channel subscriber experience. Could
hey,
new subscribers
Torsport.
please make your way to the first class
Thank you so much. 21 months.
Complimentary drinks, snacks, and premium flight entertainment will be served.
So let's
Thank you.
do this. Thank you much, Torsport. What stands are currently free? It looks like 5 and 9, 10 should be free organ. Mass and balance. Let's load the aircraft and let's do that instant. So we've got 69.9, 27.7 for the MAC 0 fuel weight, and we've got so the takeoff weight 76.6, which is quite interesting for a nice and heavy aircraft, right? So 321, lovely. So the 321 series was my favorite, really. So this type, so exactly this. Why is the reverser open? Just. Maintenance has been messing about with my aircraft, it seems. It's MXI, Trosport, MXI. It's not the best, but I think for Thessaloniki, I think it's a fair deal. It's not terribly detailed interior modeling. So I know that some of you do want to have more, stuff in the terminal. So they also have the low-cost terminal simulated there. Yeah, Trosport, exactly. Ghost. That's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. Honestly, I have not seen many airports where the glide slope intersects correctly with the PAPI lights. It's one of those issues we battle with many times. Cool. So let's go back. One thing sometimes I miss is because I sit in front of a 4K monitor. Obviously, this picture is huge for me. But when I see my streaming OBS streaming window, then I can see that some people, of course, if you're watching on an iPhone or a tablet, you don't really see that well what I'm actually doing here, which buttons I'm pressing. So I am aware. So I hope this setup improves a little bit. So 6.7, 6.8 is correct. Current temperature is 17. Put that in there. So level 310, Costinix 15. We've got the alternate Chania, which is also on Crete. Hey, nice, man. Thanks for the picture. Very cool. Ah, okay, nice. Yeah, you got the Discover livery there. Okay, interesting. Who's ever going to get a coffee shop term? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, I do understand people having different preferences. So I think it's perfectly fine if someone would like more interior, being modeled correctly, etc. Even if it does cost a little bit of performance. But yeah, some people like me don't really care that much. So all I really care about is if I'm looking into the terminal from this position, so seeing a couple of animated people there like this, that's fine, right? The flags that are moving, right? That is cool. That's all I need really. So the wind data should be loaded. So init A page, B page, flight plan page. Currently we don't have ATIS and we don't have control here. We're going to have Athena approach, although we're going to overfly them, I think. So there's probably not going to be any ATIS there. But let me just see if we can get some weather here. My flights. So let's do this. Oh, hang on. Something I forgot. Connector. So QNH is 1011. Wind is 040 at 3. So we're a bit flexible. We are flexible on the departure runway. Just to start my wing.
Welcome aboard the Captain Black Box Twitch channel subscriber experience. Could new subscribers please make your way to the first class cabin, where complimentary drinks, snacks and premium flight entertainment will be served. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Mango, sir. Nice to see you. Happy Easter. 14 months. Thank you so much, Mr. Mango, sir. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. All right, there we go. Now it should be running, right? Yeah, cool. All right, so that was 1011 and 040. So guys, what departure runway are you taking? Let's coordinate that a little bit. 26. Okay, thank you. 16. Okay. So yeah, 16 I can live with as well. So Laris 16 and Ted takes 10. Okay, well 10 I think is fine as well. I'll take 16, which should give us the LECPO 3 Bravo departure. Hang on, no disregard. 1 Bravo. LECPO 1 Bravo departure. Yeah, that would be, you know, Chuck, that would be the easy solution, right? And that was actually discussed on the podium discussion in Lelystad, where people were saying, you know, make an option during the installation process, right? What you know, what kind of setup you want. Hey, seat 120, nice to see you too. How are you? Guys, the weather in Iraklion is beautiful. So we have 040 at 4 Cav OK and temperature 20 QNH 1010. Here's my idea, okay guys, so whatever you want to do and fly, those that are flying along, that's perfectly fine. What I would like to do today is the following. So, I mean, we've flown lots of non-precision approaches in the past. We know we can all do that. What I would like to do today is I would like to do and simulate a visual approach, right? So the idea would be is to, because otherwise what we would have to fly is kind of a non-precision approach, either the VOR approach or an RMP approach, right? I mean, both of these are fine. Almighty Snark, hello to you. Now, what I would like to do is simulate a clearance from ATC that would say you cleared visual 27, right? And kind of explain a little bit how we would fly the approach IRL, right? It's a bit different to VFR traffic, so during the flight we'll talk about that a little bit. So if an IFR flight gets a visual approach clearance, that flight will remain under IFR rules, okay? All you're doing really is you are relieving the controller of giving you radar vectors or giving you further clearances for descent, etc. So all he's doing is like he's giving you, the pilot, the authority and the responsibility to position your aircraft safely onto final approach. So that then they will hand you over to the tower, and the tower gives you landing clearance. So you do have some wiggle room how you fly the visual approach, okay? As long as it's safe, all right? You can pretty much not do everything you want, but you're then very flexible. So, you know, the tower usually, or the approach controller, will rarely give you a limitation where, let's say, latest you would have to be on the final, okay? Or they would maybe sometimes tell you don't descend below 1,500 feet before, or 1,000 feet, before being on final track or something, right? So they can limit your options a little bit, but usually if there's just say cleared visual approach 27, then you would go about and fly however you like it, and just make sure that you keep your company SOPs and you stick to the company rules, right? With descent rates, etc., etc. But we can talk about that during the flight. So that's my idea. So that way, I'm going to give you some interesting inputs regarding how I would maybe program some things into the MCDU to give me some visual clues, and then give you an idea how I would energy manage that. So where I would put flaps out, where I put the gear out, etc., to be a nice and smooth established on final approach. So that's the idea today, guys. So let me quickly go back to my departure. Here's the ground charts. You're having issues with Xpilot. It says type code not identified. That's weird. Could you try another different aircraft code, maybe, Organ? Just maybe do some basic 320 or something. So 10 is this one here. So we're going to taxi out, cross 16, and then 10 full length. So hotspot will be the crossing of that runway, which is an active runway. So that's what we're going to do. And then for departure, it was the LECPO 1 Bravo, wasn't it? Yeah. So the 1 Bravo is runway... Hang on, disregard. No, that's not right. There. No, that's still not right. LECPO 1 Charlie. Yeah, 1 Charlie. That's the one. So it's 1 Charlie is a nice DME arc. So as a practice, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do this as a practice. 10 DME arc. departure. Raw data, how about that? So for those that fly the 727, maybe just with the SIVA or something. So let's do the arrival, Xavis 1 Alpha. So let's do Xavis 1 Alpha. And then approach via Gonzo, I think. Yeah, Gonzo. But again, we'll go with a visual approach later on. It's just for the FMS now. So that is all closed. That flight plan looks good. 358 miles in total. And it says here it's got 376. So that's adding up okay. That's not too bad. Hey, Ali. Let me see if I can do this. So, controller. Is it hardware settings? Oh, let's hang on, go back. Not the controller. I want the joystick. There we go. So there we go. I have just complete normal. Although I'll tell you what I'll have. I'm gonna want the. I want the dead zone. Yeah, see that, because that's a little bit. There's a bit of noise there. So let me put that just a little bit more. Just make sure that I've ruled out the noise. Okay. Yeah, but that's linear for me. If you got something different, let me know. But I'm doing linear setup. All right. Yeah, try it. What controller do you have, Ali? Ratna for departure. Now we are doing, we said we do the VOR departure, so the ARC. So I'm going to dial in Mike Kilo Romeo, and that way what I want to do as well is we're going to have the ARC. So the important radial is 143, because that's a radial that we cross in order to intercept the radial 155 outbound to Lekpo. So what I'm going to dial in here is the course 155. All right, and then 143 is what we're going to have to remember to turn, okay? So the departure route says we go straight out, radial 09 at 8 degrees. I'm going to put that on the FO side. And at 8 dmi, we turn right, max to 30 knots, bank 20 degrees to intercept a 10-degree arc. Seems to need some recalibration. Could be. Oh, okay, organs, fantastic. Let me just check. Oh, really? So Tyrese says rudder on the TCA Airbus stick is tweaking. Need a dead zone of 50. Okay, well, that's a huge dead zone. That's a lot of noise then from the stick. So the arc, and then we're gonna cross 143, and then we're gonna intercept the 155 to Lekpo, and that's the end. Flight level 70 or above. So I'm gonna put 70 in initially. Constraints, VOR. So let me dial in on the other set for the first officer, Michael Romeo, as well. And then the course was 096 initially outbound, wasn't it? 96. Oh, 98 actually. There we go. So, again, just for practice, we're going to put this to VOR rows. And I'll do the same here. Okay. And then we'll fly the departure raw data. So Squawk 2000 is fine. And then, what time is it? Ooh, gotta go. Ghost, do you have a suggestion for some cheap headphones? What do you mean for the PC? Well, what's your limit, Rick? Let's ask this way. What's your limit, you know, your price limit? How much is the maximum you would want to spend? So Thessaloniki has NEDP2 departure. Engine out 10 is 5.1. Mike Kilo Romeo, right, track 195, passing 2000 knh, right to intercept 280. Mike Kilo Romeo 15 DV, enter the hold. 20 euros. Oh god, yeah. Hey. Okay, that's a very low limit. Maybe someone here knows headphones. Right, secondary copy active. Let's do a quick return. First of all, yeah, we're gonna land 10 again. ILS Zulu 10, no star, no via. Oh, that reminds me. Let's do failures. No, hang on. Where was that? That was under maintenance. No, was it under config? Yeah, failures. So let's do, hang on, random. So we got all failures being allowed to be triggered and realistic failure rate. Actually, let's do high, okay? Store as default. Right, let's do it this way. Just so we may get a failure from time to time. Yes, Mark, yeah. Is that better now? Because some people, like I said, they said they've got a hard time seeing what I'm doing on the MCDU. Organ, well, someone has taken 1.6, I'm taking 1.0. So Zebo says, look for some Sony headsets, 30 euros. Maybe that works. Right, so fix info. So with the engine out, we want first Mike Kilo Romeo. I know it's 5.1, but I'm going to put a 5-mile radius around that. And initial, it's going to be 89 outbound. So then it's right, track 195 until passing 2,000 feet, and then right, intercept radial 280 outbound. So let's do quickly this in case something goes wrong. So we depart until this ring, then we turn right, track 195. So we depart, then we go 195. To intercept 280, that rate outbound, and that doesn't work, does it? 5.1. No, that doesn't work. That's weird. I don't know what I wrote down there. It should be somewhere like radial. Go track like 330 or something, and then intercept that outbound because there's low terrain to the west. That's one of those EOSITs I prefer to write down on a piece of paper and place in front. Yeah, that's a good idea, to be honest. So I've got to recheck that procedure. Anyway, so let's do that, and then one thing to do is performance. So engine out 1030, Thrust reduction. Oh, sorry. Both engine thrust reduction acceleration is in 1030. NADP2. And then we'll do the takeoff performance apply. Runway. Hang on. Hang on. Was that landing? Yeah, that's landing. Disregard. Takeoff 10. Sync the load sheet. Sync the weather. 1011. 40 at 3, 16 degrees. Packs on. Let's see what that does. 54. I can live with that. Flaps 2. Yeah, we'll take those values. Send them. Ghost, go ahead with the question. Sure. So engine out is 1600 feet for the acceleration. Cool. Alrighty. That's that. So with brief departure, the only thing I want to brief is the MSA. So briefing up to Lepka was done. MSA on the east side is 5,500. If we stay in the white area, it's going to be 3,000 feet for clearance. So 1,000 feet above the contour layer wide is 3,000. So 3,000 is safe. So in case of return, we'll stay in 3,000. Stay within the white area, right turns. Okay, I'm happy to hear that you're happy with X-Plane 12, Sable. Yeah, cool. D10 for the speed brakes, or a limit during flight. No, we don't have any limits. So you can. The only limit that we have is let me see. No, there is no. For us, are different to the 320, 321 with config 3, config 4. We don't have a limit regarding. So all we respect is the minimum speed band. So that yellow band, that's what we respect regarding speed brakes. So that we don't get the speed below the yellow band or into the yellow band. I have the wrong. Oh, you're right. Hang on. Oh, what did I put in there? Yeah, talking too much. Thank you. There we go. 1-0. Now we got it. I did that on purpose, obviously. As always. It's just to test you guys. You know me. Right, so we've done that. That's done. That's done. That's done. But we did calculate for runway 10. Yeah, cool. Excellent. Good. Then let's read the checklist. Let's get going, shall we? And again, that's one of the reasons I can't do the cross the pond, because honestly, I would make so many mistakes being so tired. Lol, I like dancing. Look at that. Did you see them dancing there? Oh, that's funny. Come on, do it again. Yeah, they were dancing. Well, now they're not doing it because we're watching. Typical. Right, anyway, so the cockpit preparation checklist. Gear pins covers removed. Full quantity is 6,720 kilograms balanced. The seat belts are on. We have ADIR's position monitor nav. And the power ref is 1011. Check 3 times. Cockpit preparation checklist completed. So 22.8. We have to put that in. So let's do that. That's off. Fantastic. TCAS and 22.8. And there we go.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Just testing my... Oh, okay. That's fine. Hey, Nate. Oh, you're in the Bahamas. You lucky person. Oops. You lucky person.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin and set.
Before start, parking brake is... Oops. Parking brake is on. We have... Takeoff speed thrust. We have 160, 165, 165. Flex 54. Windows doors closed. The beacon is on, and that's the before start check is complete. Khan, hello. Which wind information should we insert? So no, you mean like here on the init B page? So normally if you have the option to download the wind data, I would do that. Hang on, let me just do that real quickly. Yeah, we'll do it a straight pushback. That's all we're going to do.
Exiting from editing mode. Please wait.
So then we have the wind data for all cruise or phases. Hey, mathematics. Now, if you want to have the average wind, so if you just want to go in the B page and put the average wind in there on your OFP somewhere. Now, I'm using the Lufthansa format. It's going to be different on the other formats, but what I'm doing here is I am looking at the average wind component. So plus would mean tailwind because it's pushing us. Minus, so M would be headwind. And here on the MCDU in the 320 you have to put HD for headwind or H, and tailwind is TL or T. And that way you can enter the winds. Unless you mean it differently regarding approach page or something. Oh, sorry. Oh, no. Hang on. Now I read the whole question. While you're adding equitime points. Yeah, so there I would go as well to the OFP. And so you have outbound wind and at your first point and the other wind on the second point. So I would definitely look at those different wind values for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. The FENIX, does it have equitime point? It does. Okay, so can we do that during the flight, Khan? Are you going to be here in the yeah. Okay, it does. Okay, so we'll do that during the flight. Okay. Let me just quickly get the engine started, and then we'll go. So fuel pumps on. Pressure is looking good. Let's start. Yeah, I know I'm trying to get it unlocked. All right, let's start engine 1. That way, hopefully we'll get the pressure with the PTU. And that way we're going to get able to close the right reverser. The right reverser needs yellow pressure. I mean, what I could do quickly is do this. So yellow engine pump, sorry, ilic pump on. And that way, I'm going to pressure it, and that will close the reverser. There we go. So that goes off again. Brakes on.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Since we have IEE engines, it does a 30-second motoring. So it'll wait 30 seconds after the RPM increases before it'll inject the oh yeah, right, inject the fuel. That was 27.7, if I'm completely right. Let me just check. Yeah, you guys are awake. I can see that. GG. GG's 27.7. Fantastic. Yeah, I know. I know. But the fuel flow will not be that much different here. So. Yeah, I know. The important thing is the 321 liter. That's the really important thing. I would be worried if I had 320 or 319 in the OFP. That would be bad, because then the fuel flow would be really off. So again, you can see now, it's still motoring now. After about 30 seconds, it now introduces fuel. And it does take a few seconds for the light up and the EGT to rise. There it goes. Right, in the meantime, let me just have a look if I can quickly go and... Now I know that Mark loves this this view here. Hang on. Maybe just a little bit closer here. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Alrighty. So engine start is good. We're going to tell GSX that we have a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start.
So
You
now
can
we're going to
disconnect.
go.
Unlocking gear.
Yeah, Avimar, that's true. Hello to you. We have not been to. We've not been to Greek islands for ages. Flaps 2, we said.
Macedonia traffic, Alpine 55 Echo Papa pushing back stand 5 Macedonia.
Full right. Oh no, hang on. It's a shame it doesn't recognize, 321 being in the same
Bypass be removed.
category as
Left is clear. Right is clear.
there we go. As the others, and just link that. Full left, full right, neutral. So waiting for the all clear signal there. Yeah, they are redoing the sounds. Yeah. Yeah. Right, there's the pin. Thank you very much, sir. See you next time. So let's do the after start checklist. We've got anti-ice off, ecom status is checked. We have pitch trim up 0.4 and rotor trim neutral. So we're going to turn left here. Macedonia traffic, Aegean 497 is taxiing to runway 10 in Macedonia. Right, let's not hit the EasyJet there. Yeah, Super Grumpy, hello to you. Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to that as well. Absolutely. Yeah, that's enough space. Cool. So that's going to be... six. That lag was because I'm saving viewpoints here. 7. I'll have to switch off the thermals again. So let me just make sure I'm taxiing the correctly. Left here, yeah, left, and then we're going to cross the runway. Right, 3D thermals are switched off. So let's see if Ted is on the run, on the takeoff run. No, no one there. And no one there. Macedonia traffic, agent 497 crossing 1634 in Macedonia. For that, we're going to switch on the strobe lights. Now, one thing I need to change though is the viewpoint. That looked
Macedonia traffic.
Really weird.
Alpine Flight Echo Papa taxiing now runway 16 via Charlie and Alpha Macedonia.
So this should be Foxtrot, and then we're going to taxi down on Foxtrot until the end. Fantastic. Yeah, the thermals look like fireworks, yeah. Hey Dian, it's called MXI. MXI for Thessaloniki. There we go. Just in time. Thank you much. So then we'll do the taxi checklist. Flight controls check. Flap setting config 2. Then we have radar PWS is on at auto. We have engine mode selector normal, and the ECAM mode is takeoff no blue, and that is the taxi checklist completed. You're going to be right at max landing weight. Yeah, make sure you manage the fuel. Maybe add some drag a little bit earlier on to get below the max landing weight. It happens IRL as well, so yeah, like I said, you have to manage that yourself. Sometimes not ideal, but that's the way it is. Cool. So outbound on that radial to 8 dBs, then right on a 10 dB arc until we hit the 143 radial. A321 doesn't like to be turned at higher speeds than 10 knots, so...
Macedonia traffic, Alpine 55 Echo Papa, holding at Alpha 2.
Ah, that's Organ, yes.
For departing traffic, Macedonia.
Thank you so much. Macedonia traffic, regions 497 lining up, departing 10 in Macedonia. TCAS is on. We've got that. Cabin crew prepare for departure. Approach sector. Oh, it's glary. Can't really see much. But there was nobody on TCAS and nobody calling in, so it should be all right. Cool. And today, I think I have, yeah, I've got the camera working again.
Macedonia traffic, Alpine 55 Echo Papa, lining up and waiting for departing traffic, Macedonia.
Perfect. All right, let's go. Let's get the chrono on takeoff. Manflex 54 SAS runway auto thrust blue. So I'm seeing a little bit of a mismatch between the centerline markings and the lights here again. 100 knots checked.
Macedonia traffic, Alpine Fine flight 5 Echo Pass, taking off now runway 16 Macedonia.
Pause rate, gear up. Enough. So I tell you what we'll do, we're going to turn off the flight director, all right, to fly raw data. So again, so we're following that radial outbound. Now I can also look at my display. So we've got speed. And so I want to keep that at 98, which is what we should have almost, yeah, 98, until we get to 8 DMEs. Here comes flaps 1. Speed check, flaps 1. So I'm drifting a little bit to the right. So I want to keep that. So we have 8 DMEs. Yeah, I've got to pull the tail a little bit to the left here. That's why I'm putting the heading left of the tail. Pull that just 1 degree more. And there we go. Now it's coming back in again. We're still close to the station, so that's why. So I'm going to accelerate a little bit more. So that's fine. I'm now on the correct radial. Adjust the track a little bit more to the right again. 6.5 miles, almost at 8 miles. So max 230 knots. Flap 0, speed checked. 7.7, and here's 8 miles. Turning right. So I'm going to try to get, so 20 degree bank, it said, 20 degree bank, 230 knots maximum. Let's dial up the altitude a little bit more. So we'll be at 10 dB arc, okay. So I'm going to put that radial on the 90 degree mark and see where we are. So we're getting a little bit fast, that's why I'm overshooting a bit, so I have to reconnect that. Here comes altimeter. So I'm a little bit further out than I want, so I'm going to put the needle above the 90 degree marker there. Okay? So like this, alright? So a little bit more than that. And then we're going to get closer to the station again. Right, 10 dBs is what we want to have. Now we have 10.5. So I've put the needle above the 90 degree mark. So 10.4, we're closing in. Still going to correct a bit more. 10.3, correcting a little bit more. And then 143. Once the tail hits 143, we're going to turn left, intercept that outbound. So 10.2 miles. Still need to nudge a little bit closer. So keeping that needle, that head of the needle above the 90 degree mark. There we go. So we're now at 140, almost at the 143 radial. 10 miles. 142, 143. There it is. Turning left. Intercept this radial outbound. Here's 10,000 feet. Let's increase the speed. So this is the way these departure routes were flown a long, long time ago. when we didn't have RNAV, when we didn't have the fancy FMS systems. So this was like all raw data, right? So now we're overshooting just a tad, not a big deal. Gonna put the heading or my track left of the needle. That way we're pulling the tail towards the 155 degree. There we go, almost on 155 again. And once we've captured that, make sure the track route is on the 155. And there we go. We should be perfectly on our way to Lekpo. Let's have a look. There we go. So we overshot just a tad. 1 mile is fine, so we're allowed to go to 11 miles. That's perfectly fine. We capture that nicely, and now we are perfectly outbound towards Lekpo. And that means now I'm going to put the autopilot on, flight director on, put this to nav. Let's see where we are. Let's reset the chrono, and then we're going to go to thrust climb out blue. Put the flight director on as well, 1FD2, perfect. Cool. All right, lights off, seatbelts, and cool. Easier than on a Cessna 152, yeah. Although I mean the 152 is a bit slower, I would argue. So here, obviously, it is fast. Things go really, really fast. Secondary flight plan, copy the active. Rat nav clear, and that's it. Cleaned up the FMS. FMA is looking good. 21,000. Cruise level today is 310. So let's climb 310. Hey Bob, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Goosebumps, hello to you. Blackbox, how accurate would you say FENIX is the real world? Like, do you think it would help someone in typewriting to practice for the... Yeah. Goosebumps, there are very few simulators that I would claim to be at a level where you could actually use it for real world training to a certain degree, right? The FENIX is one of them. The FS Labs is one of those add-ons. The TOLIS is kind of borderline, in my opinion. The only thing really you have to be careful with is the following. So these aircraft have different flight warning computer standards. So when you try to replicate such an add-on and you get your hands on some documents, including the MCDU, then obviously you're going to be copying a certain software standard. Now, it can happen that obviously it's a older standard, because as time goes on, Airbus will find out that some of the systems have evolved, or maybe some of the procedures have been improved, including the way systems interact, or maybe how warnings are presented, right, on the ECAM. So that way you will have some minor differences sometimes in checklists. So emergency checklist, let's say, right? So it could happen if you practice a certain failure, right? Then it could be that your aircraft that you're going to be rated on has a different flight warning computer standard and may show a little bit different checklist points here. So just, you know, minor differences, but that can happen, right? Yeah, so that's a problem with the toll list, in my opinion, as well. It's a good add-on, however, it does, of course, you know, if you want to practice with that for real-world flying, then it does have its limitations, right? I would say that. Blue Sky Travel, when you continue with the FS Labs 321 Europe tour very soon. So I was like literally just hung up a little bit with two topics. One of them was the X-Plane 12 installation again, to get back into X-Plane 12. That took some time and some effort. And also then I wanted to, well, I mean, the thing is that obviously a lot of people are now moving more and more to Microsoft 2024. And then it's me complaining about certain things with performance or missing aircraft add-ons, etc. Nevertheless, I don't want to fall behind too far. So I've been doing some research. I've been, you know, tweaking the settings so that I get a feeling that performance is getting better, right? Not perfect yet, but it's more stable, less crash to desktops. So yeah, we, you know, continuing on that path as well. But I will go back again with the 320, 321 from FS Labs, and then didn't somebody, wasn't it? Who was it? Someone from the FS Labs team who teased with another screenshot from the installers. It was Norman, right? Yeah, Norman was teasing. Yeah, so what was it teasing with? 321 Neo or the Microsoft 2024? Can it do a barrel roll? No, Bob, not with all systems working. Ah, okay, so 2024 and the Neo. Ah, okay, well that's a huge jump then, yeah. So with that, it's even more a reason to practice or try more in Microsoft 2024. Right, both. Okay, cool, Ludo. Thank you. Goosebump says, you love the FS Labs. You actually put me on the FS Labs in your localizer 26 left in Innsbruck. Yeah, yeah. So in P3D, back when I started, yeah, the FS Labs was the absolute go-to add-on. There was nothing comparable, right? Now we have the FENIX as well, right? Pretty much on par with the FS Labs. Both great add-ons. And so, yeah, we're just really, we're looking at is maybe some new versions that, you know, no one else has published yet. And the Neo, for example, here in you know, FENIX or FS Labs, obviously will be the next biggest step, right? Especially when it comes to flight warning computer standards, etc., etc. So, and I know it. You know, I think no doubt FENIX has been teasing with the Neo versions as well, right? So it seems like at the moment it's kind of a head-to-head battle, seeing who can get out the Neo first, you know, and with a good standard, right? Lido charts on EFB, yeah. 777 releasing soon on 2024. Yeah, that's something to look forward to as well. Yeah, Turk in the US. You know, that's one of the first feedbacks that I gave them. I said, hey, you know, the sounds in the FS Labs are below standard regarding FENIX, let's say. And there were some other things, and the answer I got was that you you know, the sounds are realistic, and they look more for realism because in the cockpit you can't hear certain sounds, right? Now, I disagree with that because for me, while I understand they want to make everything as realistic as possible, and yes, in the real 321, you can't hear the engines mostly during flight. So most phases during the flight, maybe the approach when you're at slower airspeeds, and then you rev up the RPM, you can then hear the engines, but otherwise you can't, right? So the thing is though, most flight simmers find that really disappointing. And here's my opinion, and it's just my opinion. I think that if you try to make a plane for certain customers, then you know you should respect certain wishes, right? And sounds, so textures and sounds. These are two things that are really important for many add-on for many people in their add-ons, right? So, as well, for me personally, I would argue that if the community says the sounds are too weak or not high fidelity enough, then they should listen, right? FS Labs completely missed their chance. Last update was 7th February. Well, I mean, so here's the thing is this: if you know, if you have enough resources in form of programmers, then obviously you can speed up some things. But you've always got the problem of having to get in revenue, right? I mean, it is a company in the end, right? So you gotta get in some revenue, and these days I think there's two problems. One is obviously cost, and the other one is getting enough, you know, really qualified programmers for the flight sim business. I'm not talking about anything else, but you know, purely for the flight sim business, it's probably not that easy to get some good programmers, right? So that's the thing, and that's a limiting factor, right? So yeah, update, yeah, sure. I mean, but that takes away a lot of resource, you know, for them to get the Neo out. And I think if they lag behind, too far behind the FENIX, so let's say FENIX comes out like 2 months prior to FS Labs, well, a lot of people will buy the FENIX and not even consider the FS Labs. Right, so if both come out at the same time, then you can look at both, you know, both add-ons, pros and cons, and make your decision afterwards, right? I can't get into settings right now, I'm afraid. But usually AVMR, I don't run the highest turbulence settings. I usually do like mid or low settings. Well, I mean, Turk and US, there's going to be other factors as well, right? I have a feeling sometimes that it's not just the flight sim community, but there's a lot of people that have a mindset kind of like when you have your favorite football club, right? So whatever your reason to support one team, you're probably never ever going to, you know, support 2 or 3 teams at the same time, right? Not at the same emotional and financial level. Okay, so yeah, you know, if you have people saying you know, I'll always stick with the FENIX because they've always really, you know, made me happy with the product, then sure. Or if, of course, then you have people saying what happened with FS Labs and you know, some years back with the malware, then, you know, that's a no-go for them, right? That has to be respected, okay? So, and then you can have people saying, hey, the FS Labs was always, you know, for me, a top-notch kind of add-on. For whatever reason, you know, they want to then fly the FS Labs. for what it offers. But yeah, I agree that some people own both, yeah. But that's obviously low, you know. Then you want to have, you know, the add-ons, and you check which ones, you know, you prefer. Maybe for some flights you prefer this, and some flights the other. I don't know. But yeah, it's you know, it's always a more emotional kind of thing, really, sometimes with people. What are your thoughts on indie build 321? Honestly, Ali, man, the thing is this: if you have an add-on that's working at a level like the FENIX 321, and then you find out that there's a version which obviously doesn't run as well and doesn't have the fidelity, well, my time is very limited that I spend on flight sims. So I'm definitely spending and really looking carefully, you know, what flights I want to do with what add-on, right? So that's why I won't do certain flights, like, so the CRJ, give you another example, CRJ Aerosoft, okay? The CRJ in general is an aircraft that I don't really have much fascination with, okay? Nevertheless, if I would have heard that the add-on is fantastically realistic and it's really well made, it hand flies beautifully, then I would have tried it. But I've not really heard anything positive about the add-on. I've literally heard only negative things about it. So again, my time is so limited, and I don't want to spend time on add-ons that obviously are not really worth spending money and time on. Nate says, for sounds, I want fun over realism. Yeah. Yeah, Nate, and I don't know, Nate, you know, the podium discussions they had at Lelystad. I think it was actually Matthias Koch who said quite rightly, he said developers have to listen to their customers, right? So obviously, yes, realism is very important. But under certain circumstances, like for example sounds and visuals, then they would have to listen to the customers, at least to a point where you give the customers the option to have one or the other. Right? So that's also a recommendation I gave to FS Labs. That, well, why don't you give the people the option? You know, put a slider down here. With sounds. Oh, we got approach online. Okay, so we're gonna have to ask for visual then. Okay, thanks for the heads up there. And Team Jordan 82 coming in with 73 months. Good God, give you a round of applause this way because my bot is not working today. Thank you so much, Team Jordan, for the 73 long time support. I hope you're doing well. Happy Easter to you. Oh yeah, equitime point. Sorry, so we were discussing something earlier on. So regarding equitime point, the FENIX has it. Okay, so equitime point. Now by default, it will take departure and arrival airport. Now you can set anything you want. You can put in airports, you can put in fixes, VORs, NDBs, whatever. Right, so that can be changed, okay, but let's leave it as it is, right? So the question is, what kind of wind should you insert? Okay, so it gives you wind here at let's see, no wind. Okay, so right now it's calculating the equitime point literally by distance, right? So you can see that we are we've got 181 miles to Iraklion, and we're currently 147 miles away from Thessaloniki. Okay, so equitime point, obviously, is exactly midpoint between those two distances. Now, that changes, obviously, when we insert the wind data. So what would be best is, in this case, to look at your top of climb wind. Okay, so top of climb, TOC, level 310. So that would be 250. And that is true wind, by the way, here in the flight plan. Actually 253, let's make that exact. At 16. I'm going to put that in here. Then I would take top descent wind, okay? Again. And that is quite a difference. Look at that, 256 at 70. So I've inserted that wind now in these cyan fields. And now the equitime point will shift it a little bit, okay? Now, it goes without saying that the impact the wind data has depends on the distance between those 2 points. Right, so if these points are like 300 miles away from each other, a changing wind will only have an impact, let's say 3 miles, 4 miles maybe, of a shifting equitime point. But let's say you're over the Atlantic and you're talking about maybe 500 miles, right? 600, 700 miles between those points. Then obviously the wind data will have a bigger effect on the position of the equitime point. But for this example, again, I would take top of climb, top of descent wind data. And that will give you a nice equitime point. Right now, look at that. 163, 164, 164. That should be equitime. ETP sequenced, okay? So there we go. So I hope that has answered the question. What's the average of FENIX versus TOLIS? Well, the TOLIS is lacking, not just according to my kind of opinion, but a lot of feedback I get when I'm flying the TOLIS is that people are disappointed with the sounds and with the textures. Now, personally, the flight model in a TOLIS I prefer over FENIX. But that again has a lot to do with, I mean, it's programmed obviously to match the real world counterpart. And it does that, they do a great job using X-Plane 12 aerodynamic model. So that feels a lot more realistic compared to Microsoft Flight Sim. Right. But again, it's a matter of programming the flight model within the aircraft as well. Stuart, Stuart, so for me, I have not really noticed, I don't think the update has come out yet. So the big changes regarding the flare behavior comes out with the update, the next big update they were talking about. And it's not out yet, at least to my knowledge. Khan, okay, so let me put it this way. If you got a longer distance, let's say you're flying over a big stretch over water, then you have one airport at the coastline, okay, somewhere. That will be one of your first diversion airports you could go to in case of a problem. And then on the other side, somewhere, maybe an island or something, or mainland on the other side, that's your other airport you could fly to, okay? Then you would look at the waypoint list and choose a waypoint that is closest to each of these airports. And then I would choose that wind data from that. Let's see, can I have, let's look at the airport indications here. So for example, let's say I use Athens as a diversion airport, put that in there, and I use then Iraklion, okay? Oh, it's already in. Okay, so now I would leave the top descent wind in, obviously because that wind data is closest to the last cruise wind that we have for destination. However, for Athens, I would choose either Kea wind data. So let's have a look here. Kea, we do have Kea, right? And then top of climb, but that was a bit behind us. So I would use this wind, the Kea wind, Kilo Echo Alpha, right? This wind, and again top of descent wind in this case. I hope that makes sense. End of April. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So end of April, there should be the big update. What do you mean, strange looking A350? What do you mean, A350? Huh? I'm confused. Volanta, really? That is really weird indeed. What we can do though is a quick fuel check. So Kea, we just passed Kea at, oh, it's not on the list here even. So I've been in the air for 30 minutes. Then we got, well, yeah, I mean, I think they still call it experimental here in 2024, right? The FENIX. But it's running quite nicely, so... That is indeed weird that it says A350 in Volanta. Anyhow, let me just have a look here. So the min diversion fuel for Chania is 2.4 tons. Alright, so currently we expect it to land with 3.6, so we have at least a ton extra. So that should definitely be plenty. Good, let's get the ATIS real quickly. So let's go my flight, weather arrival, and there we go, view ATIS, fantastic. So this is Iraklion Airport Information Golf. Thank you very much, whoever's coming online here to give us service. Oh, we got, let's have a look. Yeah, we have approach control. Cool, thank you much for that. So we have the RMP, runway use 27, transition level 75, 190 at 4, 10 kilometers, view 2000, temperature 16, and dew point 15, clinch 1012. Caution, light turbulence on short final. That's pretty typical for Iraklion. And advise on initial contact, you've listed information for Gulf. Okay, so I will ask nicely for a visual approach, okay? And hopefully we'll be granted that. Now, I was going to show you something I would do to help me with the kind of the energy management and my planning regarding the landing. So let me just get AirPlay running here. I'm going to descend very soon. Hope we get that going in time. So let's have a look. AirPlay on. There we go. So okay, let's try that. And that. All right. So then let's draw. So let's do a runway. So here's the runway, okay? Then we've got the final approach track. Just move that there. So what we want to do is we want to create some gates. All right, what are gates? Gates are gates in the sense that you try to fly your aircraft through these gates vertically and laterally, okay? So if I told you that latest I want to be established on a 3-mile final, not Bill Gates, no, gates, like gates you go through, okay? So how high above the threshold would we be at 3 miles? $900 feet, perfect. Okay, so I would look for 900 feet above the threshold. Yeah, above the airport level. Yes, that's fine. Okay, perfect. Okay, so then what I can do, I can then say, okay, so obviously I'm gonna try to minimize my track mileage. So if I'm approaching from the north, perfectly, or preferably I would go into the base. Okay.
Welcome aboard the Captain Black Box Twitch
So
channel
now,
subscriber experience.
what I would like to do
Can
is
new
look
subscribers
into
please make your way to the first class
a
cabin,
point here, another
where
gate
complimentary drinks, snacks, and premium flight entertainment will be
that
served.
is another 3 miles away from the center line. So next trick question, what should be the altitude here at this point above the threshold? We'll start my descent. Speed descent out blue. 190. And Leak 871, thank you for the 40 cents. That's a long time as well. Big round of applause. Thank you so much. Leak, thank you for the 47. That's really kind. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, 1800. Yeah, correct. 1800. So another 900 feet, because for each mile, so 1 nautical mile on a 3-degree profile is about 300 feet. So this would be ideally 1800 feet as a gate. Okay. So that means that we would fly a continuous descent, and that's always the thing we try to do. Right? So no, this top-down view, Aviamar. This is a top-down view, okay? Sorry for the confusion. So top-down view, okay? Here's the landing threshold there. Okay? So that's 1800 feet above the threshold elevation, okay? Now, think about this. What config would you have at this point? That's the runway. Yeah, I know, right? Picasso at work here. We're dialing the approach frequency already. That is 23975. 23. I'm not going to listen to it. Yeah, flap 2, I would agree. What about gear? If you go gear down, flaps full, that is on the safe side. I think since we're doing a visual approach, I would go with flap 2 and gear down. GD gear down. That's what I would aim for. Okay? Exactly, Ted, yeah. So this would be ideal, and that way I can continue on a very, very nice gentle descent. Now, this will be the planning. Okay, I wouldn't go and do it more complicated than that. Leave it as simple as possible, okay? So now what I want to have, I want to try to get this point programmed into the MCDU. And that's all I want to do really, okay? So let's go heads down real quickly. Go to the fixed page. Actually, yeah, let's go to fixed page first. So what we can do here in the 320 is very nice. We can actually put the landing threshold in there. So 27, and then radial. We're gonna have a look at the runway track.
free speed.
Free speed 024.
Which is 270. That's very nice. So 270. However, I want an outbound radial drawn, so I'm going to put 090. So that way, let me just get terrain away. So that way I can already have a center line there. Okay, so now comes the difficult part. Let's go to pilot waypoints. Second page, pilot waypoints. Delete all first of all. So I'm going to put Lima Golf India Romeo, runway 27, bearing 090, distance 3 miles. And I'm going to call that Lima Golf India Romeo 01. Store. A new waypoint. I'm going to put the waypoint I just created, Lima Golf India Romeo 01. Take that as the place. Then the bearing, yep, bearing to the north, obviously, is going to be 000 and another 3 miles. And I'm going to call that Lima Golf India Romeo 02. Store. And so now I have created those 2 waypoints I've just talked about. Controller, good evening from Egan. 497 passing 235, descending 190, information Golf.
497, squawk 6772.
Squawking 677 to confirm.
Bye. Engine 497, you're identified. Proceed direct India Romeo 402. Descent flight level 110. Expect RMP 27.
Okay, we'll go direct to India Romeo 402, descending level 110. Egan 497, and if possible, we would request a visual approach later on runway 27.
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you much. Thank you so much. Good. Okay, so India Romeo 402, first of all. Right, that makes sense. Let's put that in. So now what I'll do, I'm going to take out all of the waypoints here. So I'm going to put speed brakes out first of all.
190 degrees at 4 knots.
Oh, we're not high. That's interesting. Let me just clean up the aircraft. So then I'm going to put in. So I'm going to clear up all of these other waypoints first of all. Until we get to the final. So FD, final. And now I'm going to put in the 2 waypoints I've just created. So the first one, I thought so, is 02. That was the second waypoint I created, but we're going to overfly that first. And then I'm going to put in the other waypoint on final. Okay, so quickly show you guys. So we got one point here, and the other one is hard to see, but that's there, okay? And the idea is So those two points that we just created are these 2 points. So that's Lima Golf India Romeo.
470, send flight level 80.
Descent level 80, agent 497. So 80. So this is LGIR 02 and that's LGIR 01. Right, and that's all we need to do to get ourselves a visual reference. Okay. Speed brakes in. Let's quickly calculate the performance calculations. So we've got Iraklion, runway 27, apply the METAR, 1012, config probably medium, auto thrust off, flaps full. It's a heavy aircraft, not much landing distance, and we're weighing right now 73.5. And the max is 77.8, so that's fine. So medium, what about low? Low is fine as well. So low would do, keep us brakes cooler. Yeah, let's take low. We're going to vacate Bravo or Alpha. So that's fine. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so brake Bravo or Alpha is what we want to vacate. And that way, what I did, I calculated with autobrake low, 73.5 tons. So we need about 2,000. Factored is 2,400 meters. And available we have 27. So that will do. Cool. So let's get the lights on, seatbelt signs on, autobrake low. In here, performance. I'm going to put in 1012. We've got 16 degrees, I think it was. And the wind, hold on. 16, and that was 190 at 4. So 190 at 4. Minimum visual, config full. So that's all done. So let's get our bearings correct. So the airfield is a little bit to the right, and I would think that's
170, send 3,000 feet, QNH 1012, advise formation.
Yeah, we have the runway inside, descending 3,000, QNH 1012, region 497.
So you want to proceed visually?
Yes, if you can. I will go visual if you can.
Copy, I will advise shortly.
Okay, continue Lima Golf, sorry, India Romeo 402 for now. I'm going to wait for your call for the visual. Thank you. Just need to dial down the ambient sounds just a tad. There we go.
Region 497, first visual approach, runway 270, set traffic pattern altitude, report turning final.
That's copied. Cleared visual approach, descend traffic pattern altitude, call you when turning final, agent 497. So, manual flight. So now, just going to port that direct to that point there, but I'm going to turn the flight director off.
Taxi standing 1.
Taxi set 1, you're losing 84.
And now, as always, we have the problem that we need to lose altitude very quickly. So we're going to have a hard time reaching that that limit that we set. So I've got to actually reduce the speed far enough now to get flaps and gear out. And again, that's what I mean with energy management. We're way too high. Here comes flaps 1. Gears coming down. 220 knots, it should come down. There we go. And now flaps 2. Speed is checked, flaps 2. And now I've created a lot of drag. I can descend now easily at 5,000 feet per minute. That's perfectly fine. It's a lot, but that's what we need right now. Again, we want to reach that window that we've created, correct? Going to activate the approach phase. Speed is managed. Yeah, so we have to be on configuration and on speed at 1,000 feet above the threshold of the airport. I have to be aligned with centerline on a visual approach at 500 feet. Let's do the approach checklist. Baro ref 1012 is set now 3 times. The seatbelts are on. We have the minimum visual. We have auto brake low, and the engine mode selector is on normal, and that's the approach checklist. Yeah, bird comes on. That really helps, obviously, so that should be coming on. So we still have to lose about 4,000 feet. Let's go flaps 3. Speed is checked. Flaps 3. Now speed brakes have to go in. Speed brakes in, and the cabin is ready. Thank you. So there's the airfield. Again, this is the point. I want to be at 1,800 feet, maybe now 2,000 with gear down, flaps 3. But right now, the way I'm descending, I would say we are going to be able to reach that. TCAS shows me no traffic. There's one more thing I'm going to do now. I'm going to clear out the FD27 and this one as well. This one as well. Just clean up the display a bit. So we already been cleared to descend to pattern altitude, so I'm going to go down to about 1,600 feet. Going to recheck the elevation again here real quickly.
GI 497, we've got your lights in sight. Runway 27 cleared land, 180 degrees, 3 knots.
Thank you much. Cleared land 27, agent 497. The threshold is in 80 feet, about 100 feet. So 1,600 is fine. So again, guys, remember that 1,800, maybe 2,000 in config 3. 2 miles to go. Perfect. Going to reach that that gate, and from that point onwards, I'm going to keep just a little bit outside of that 3 mile window. And that way, I've got my next window, so I can make sure that I've got a nice stable path down. And all of that is without any guessing. Where's my viewpoint? Come on, there we go. Flaps full, speed check, flaps full. Landing checklist, eco memo, landing no blue, landing checklist complete. So now I'm going to aim for 900 feet on final, so 1,000 feet on the altimeter, and that should bring me nicely on the final path.
Hello, Ryan and Victor Quebec, squawk 7445.
Squawk 7445 for Rhino 9 Victor Quebec.
So we're already clear to land. I'm going to start my inbound turn. Here comes the power for the speed. 1,000 feet, so slowly turning in. Keep descending, 1,000 feet per minute maximum now.
1,000.
It's checked. Oh. And there we go. 1 white, 3 red. So now I can simply do some small corrections.
Quebec, you're identified. Follow Paris 1 Alpha arrival, descent flight
Solaris, thank you.
Expect RMP 27.
There we go. Now we're on path.
Just occupied then, say again, please to Ryanair 906 to go.
Yeah, follow Paris 1 Alpha arrival, descent flight level 110. Expect RMP 27 approach.
Okay, Zavio 1 Alpha arrival, descent flight level 100, and expect RMP 27 for the approach. For Ryanair 906 to Quebec.
And there we go. Let's keep descending.
500.
Done the checklist. We're on path, on center line.
400.
Ryanair 906 to Quebec, proceed direct to Gonzo.
Correct, Gonzo, Ryanair 906 to Quebec. 200.
Careful now with the descent rate.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard. 5.
Okay, I'm happy with that. Speed brakes up. Reversers green. Closing the reversers. And I'm going to take the second to the left. Manual brakes.
GM 497 by Cape left, again left on Delta for stand 5.
Left Delta, stand 5. Thank you very much for the control and thanks for the visual approach, Agent 497.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night to you. Right, I know that was all a lot of information, all really, really fast. So let's first get off the runway, then we're going to start GSX. Look at that, beautiful lineup there, guys. You look so beautiful there.
Ryanair 906 to Quebec, descend 3,000 feet, QNH 1012.
Let's get a follow me.
3,000 feet on the QNH 1012, Ryanair 906 to Quebec.
I've got to do something with the viewpoint. It's still not optimal. TCAS, BWS, radar. So I'm just waiting for the follow me to come. Yeah, I'm going to do a little debriefing before we depart again for the next flight. Yeah, then we talk about it again a little bit slower, and then if you have still some questions, then yeah, Michael. Well, I did brake, but I think the brake then was a bit too much, so I had to correct again by doing a little bit of nose down input. Yeah, following you. Just go on.
Ryanair 906 to Quebec via Gonzo, cleared RMP27.
Wait, Gonzo, clear on
Hey, Dr. Lot of things. Yeah, so what's the real advantage of doing a visual approach? Well, I've just saved quite some fuel by not having to fly all the way out to, let's say, 10, 12 miles. I was actually doing a continuous idle power descent, or at least a very long idle power descent, and then turning on final at 3 miles from the runway. Right. So that does save a lot of fuel. But the thing is that obviously
Iraklion
top priority is always safety.
55 Echo Papa, passing point Gonzo for RMP runway 27.
Oh yeah, flaps, correct. Thank you.
Say again, your call sign? Alpine 55 Echo Papa.
So that's
Cockpit
way,
report
okay.
on final runway 27.
Report on
Let's get the
final
lights
Alpine
off.
55 Echo Papa.
Now Ted is coming in. I want to see his landing today. So I've got to circle around. There we go.
And Alpine 5 Eyes, Echo Papa, 1 angle to Squawk 7444.
Squawk 7444, Alpine 54 Echo Papa.
Beautiful line up there, all right.
Correction, 55 Echo Papa.
So I'm still going to go left here, and then I'm going to follow the hopeful correct instructions by the marshaller there. Oh, it's a tight apron there, blimey. Yep, I can see you. Okay, thank you. That's not bad, actually. For once, correct parking guidance. Appreciate that. Thank you much. Parking brake on. APU is available. Lead on. That's shut down.
The boarding requested.
Yeah, perfect. All right, fuel pumps. Hello, DJ Clonk. Hello to you. How are you? So let's quickly read after landing checklist. Radar PWS was off. Parking brake for the parking. Parking brake is on. And we have engines off, fuel pumps off. That's the parking checklist complete. Yeah, I'm happy with the landing. What was the landing rate? The landing rate was, let's just see, minus 191. So happy with that. It felt good. Applause, yeah, thank you. It just doesn't work today,
Alpine 5 Echo
that command.
Papa runway 27 clear land 180 degrees 0 knots.
While this is going on,
Runway 27, Alpine 55 Echo Papa.
Passengers bus is coming.
right, let's see. Is Ted further out? I thought Ted was next to land. So this is Organ Aviator landing. Let me just see.
Passengers, the boarding starting.
Ted, not far behind. Thanks, Mark. We're going next from here to Kos, because Kos has a new scenery. And I think we'll do an early morning flight. So while we're waiting for the next aircraft, there is, I can see the strobe lights. Just real quickly. All right, so the idea was as follows, okay? So this was one of the points I calculated. That was the Lima Golf India Romeo 02 waypoint, and that was Lima Golf India Romeo 01. Okay, so those are the names of those two waypoints that are programmed through the pilot waypoints list. Okay, so my goal was to fly through this window at 1,800 feet altimeter in config flap 2 and gear down. Now the problem was that I was a bit high, which happens very quickly because your FMS calculates the arrival and the approach, that you programmed. So, of course, a much longer final. So when you get cleared to descend down to pattern altitude and then get the shortcut for the visual approach, you will be too high. So, when you've got more altitude, let's say in 15,000 feet, you can still increase the speed and kind of increase the drag that way to descend quicker. Now, that doesn't work anymore when you're already below 10,000 feet, and you're way too high, like 3,000, 4,000 feet too high. So in order to meet that gate, you have to be quite drastic, i.e. get the flaps out, get the gear down, and then descend very quickly. All right, there we go. It's a nice landing from Organ Aviator. Welcome to Iraklion. As fast as possible, Solaris. So I'm going to wait for Ted.
555 again left.
And I think MAN, yeah, you're already here, right? Yeah, this guy's already here. Looks beautiful.
Vacate left and taxi stand 30.
So Ted is next, so I'll wait for Ted.
No, taxi stand 2.
Stand 2, sorry, Alpine 55.
So why is the first window so important? Because how far from... yeah, so that was 3 miles, Mark. So I think 3 miles is a good distance to enter the base, right? So that's why we said 1800 and then 900. And that way, again, that way, we can descend at our 3-degree profile. So the idea is to not have to level off. Right, so if we come in, cross this gate at 1800, then we can continue 3-degree down, nice and stable, not having to change power settings, not having to change, the pitch, etc. So nice and stable. And, well, I think latest mark, so depending on your ground speed, I would say maybe 1 mile. Right. So maybe 1. If you want to take it a little bit easier, maybe 1.5. Right. So once we had that that gate and we had the configuration, the rest was easy. So there's no guessing, right? So I didn't have to guess my altitude. I knew exactly whereabouts I was vertically. So there's no need for any really kind of exaggerated descent corrections or speed corrections and so on. Right, here's Ted coming in as well. Hello, Ted. Ryanair. Another safe landing. Welcome to Iraklion. Wonderful. And look how busy it is. Blimey. How cool. And I'm sure many people here, I would assume a couple of you guys here have already been on holiday here on Crete, right? I mean, I've been here on holiday.
Delta, stand 2, thank you for Ryanair, Nana,
in 1988. Can you believe that? That was
much appreciated, thank you for the service.
That's when I was here, 1988. Okay, so what I'll do now, guys, I'm just going to stop the stream, restart it, and then we're going to get into the 320 with Sharklets and IE engines, and then we're going to fly to COS. They have just brought out a new scenery, at least for Microsoft 2024. And so I'm going to fly there and then do another interesting approach there.
Passenger's bus is coming.
So I'll do that really quickly, like 5 minutes, and I'll be back online again. Thank you so much, everyone, for the support, for the resubs coming in today. Thank you so much. And again, if you want to see another flight, give me 5 minutes. I'll be back in. Thank you so much.